Hello and welcome to Encounter Roleplay. Hello to those watching live on Twitch, and if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to join us live for this show every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for the live show. Although this is in fact the final episode. You'll never see us again. Today we're playing episode 10 of Unrestful Hearts in the Garden of Glory. Let's go around the cast and crew and figure out who we are and who we're playing. My name is Grant Ellis. I'm an independent content creator for tabletop role-playing games. I play all the shenanigan-making trash can knights that kind of lurk about the background, from a flock of ravens, or rather an unkindness of ravens, to creepy boy kings and self-proclaimed prophets. Also joining us tonight is Pro Restarter. How you doing, Pro?
Yeah, I'm doing good as I scramble to find the tab that has the thing on it. Yeah, I'm doing good. Happy to be back and watching and playing this awesome game. Even when I made this have one scene or no scene, it's just fun to watch everyone collaboratively role play and build a great story. So super sad it's ending, but yeah, I played Danielle. Sir Danielle, Lord Laird of the capital. Yeah, Laird of Lights, Hearts, and all the other stuff. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Move on, quick!
All right, also joining us tonight is M. Hello, M.
Hi. Yeah, so my name's M. I'm super excited for this final session, even though I'm really concerned for so many reasons and so many characters. This is fine. But yeah, no, this has been a really cool experience, a really great collaborative storytelling gaming experience. And yeah, so I play Chef Ophelia DeLion, who is about to have a bit of a time.
And we gotta balance all of your friends. It's like you can only keep one stuffed animal, and the rest get thrown in the incinerator.
Everyone Ophelia cares about. This is fine.
That is a challenging comparison.
That's quite the metaphor.
Also joining us, everyone's favorite politician, scientist, Poisel. Hi, Poisel.
Hello, everyone. Super excited to be here tonight to see how this story is going to conclude, where the kingdom is headed, and how my brilliant plans will play themselves out. We'll see.
Joining us as well is Little Cup of Joe, everyone's favorite sad bird knight.
Hello. Yes, indeed. Contrary to my character, I am not sad, nor am I a bird knight. But yes, I am playing Certrice de Raven, who was recently unveiled to at least a few people as the last scion of House Phoenix, Chef Alexandra du Phoenix. She is quite loyal to Sir Danielle. There's a lot of history there. She has the worst taste in people, apparently. There's one of those trash cans floating around that might be M's fault. It's amazing. I love it. It's been wonderful to watch this. I got more than I expected, and I'm so proud. It's been really great to watch this system grow up. It's very different from what we started with, I think, and it is wonderful and dramatic and sparkly.
It's interesting to see how play testing with those that embrace the drama and the aesthetic brings all the sparkles into. It's like a Christmas ornament now. Also joining us, playing Sir Cataline de Wolf, Burst of Hope, Jess. Hello, Jess.
Hello, it is a pleasure to be here one last time. This game has been a glorious exploration in mechanics, narrative, collaboration, like we all said. I cannot wait to see how we go out with a bang. Tonight I play Sir Cataline de Wolf, who was somehow very motherly last session to Jolly. Through it all. Much patience. very well.
I'm excited to see Kathleen return from the East after much time. It's been almost 3 episodes, maybe even 4.
I missed our lands.
Before we begin today's show, I'll remind you guys that we're sponsored by Fantasy Grounds, our virtual tabletop of choice. All of the beautiful maps and roles you see tonight are using Fantasy Grounds, which you can try for free at fantasygrounds.com. You can also get your miniatures from Wayland Games. Go to waylandgames.co.uk and get yourself a huge range of D&D, Warhammer, and 40k minis for 20% off. This week, check out our sponsor, Tabletop Loot, who sell incredible dice. When we hit 20 retweets, we give away a set of dice to you in chat. I'm going to add that. I'm going to the chat. Da-da-da. There you go. You can also support the show by retweeting this tweet right there. And you can use the sponsored command. If you ever forget who the sponsors are, you may learn who they are. And so stuff. Finally, I'll remind you how you can interact with today's game. You can donate to affect the game by giving players critical hits, or in our case, pulls from the tarot card, advantage on their die rolls, wild magic surges, and amounts, such as Pro Restarter's beloved horse Glittermane. And if there's a moment you love during the show, clip it on Twitch. We'll be using these highlights and on Twitter. Without further ado, I will take the reins and we will get right back into Unrestful Hearts in the Garden of Glory. When last we left our intrepid, bold, and brave knights, we were entering the final winter of the period of civil strife in history. War is occurring on the fronts of the Eldershire, where the forces of the Lunar Republic have clashed against the knights of the Land Royal. Royal houses are being dismantled at a rapid pace by executive decision from the throne, where the Laird of Light, Danielle du Eagle, sits. Kathleen de Wolf, Christina du Lion, and Jolly de Estelle, his Star of the Skies, are returning from the east with an army that is called Invincible to assist on the front. Also, Alicinda the Raven's Blade was sentenced to execution. However, her twin sister, Chev Beatrice, offered to stand in her place, and it was, in fact, accepted. So we have a number of scenes that we'd like to set tonight. Each of us will be allowed to set at least one, and we have plenty of time to play. And let's see what we should set as the first scene. Do we have someone who would like to go first or would like to suggest a scene? If not, well, I forgot. As always in this game, I need to play a tarot card. Oh, geez, it's going to be horrible.
We left on such a spicy cliffhanger.
I know. Surely no one would do that intentionally. So it's a flipped 5 of Pentacles. Let's see. Recovery from financial or material loss, moral or spiritual poverty. House Dragon rises again. Dionysia's gambit is paid off.
Oh, does it now?
Oh,
What's Dionysia up to? Oh,
That's
no.
what I'm going to see. So Pentacles is actually tied to the Dragon House, de facto in the fiction. The wealthy nobles, the House of the Rich, whose tenets include achieve absolute victory, and they hold nobility and virtue above all. So I imagine Dionysia, who is most likely a cousin, prima to the Dragon Queen, who was slain in combat, has finagled a large resurgence of prosperity to Dragon House. And they are the House Ascendant, meaning currently Dragon House, if they were lagging at all, are currently seeing themselves as the house with the greatest claim on political control over the kingdom, as well as military control. It is the second coming of the Dragon House. And surely Dionysia, that fiend, is responsible. So that's sort of our dramatic event.
God, she's the worst.
Can I add something to that?
Yes.
Somehow Dionysia was connected to the Dragon Queen, but everyone knows her as the Mother of Dragons.
The Mother of Dragons.
No.
You're welcome.
No.
I mean,
That's great.
Intimidating.
So that's what's on. So I'm thinking we're going to start with the dramatic arrival on the battlefield. I believe at this point, Dionysia has withdrawn from combat. So there's these dragoons, the royal dragoons. They're doing well, and Timony's brilliant strategy has been paying off. The Eldershire looks as though it's going to be secure. Then at the crucial point when Dionysia's legions were supposed to fall and defeat the Lunar Republic, they withdrew and were marching back towards capital. It is then at this critical moment that an army from the east appeared on the horizon. Jolly, Cataline, and Christina have in fact arrived with an invincible host from the east. And we will play this scene. We're going to play it in a series of vignettes. So each of us will get to name a critical moment. So the first moment is the arrival of Sir Cataline on the field. And a Loghain, yes. I'm not going to expound on that. I'm going to be like, all right, time to get into my head canon. We're not going to. Love that game. We're referencing to Dragon Age Origins, by the way. # not sponsored. But we are taking calls, BioWare. So at this point, Cataline appears on the field of battle. Christina and Jolly not far behind, and the armies of the Eternal and Untamed East are falling. Leading the fray, they descend upon the troops. It is at this point that, Cataline, I need you to, essentially, this is going to be a check. It's going to be an attack check. If, and for the purpose of the scene, if we have 3 successes, at least, we know that the Knights of the Land Royal were overwhelmingly victorious. They won the day. This is simply a battle, but this could be the final battle of the war. Likewise, we know if we lose, we'll probably have to retreat back to capital and make a final stand. But Cataline, I'd like you to make a roll. This is essentially going sword to sword with Minnie and leading the troops. So any attractive qualities you have, you can add. Any of your adventure pools could apply depending on how you narrate it. Give us some flavor, and then we'll call for the roll.
The journey has been long, both to the east and returning. Returning might have been more tolerable because we had an army with us. I am hungry for resolution, hungry to be back on the field, as I know my years on the field should be dwindling. So this very well could be my last grand battle. I would like to expend, let's see, all or nothing, everyone. So I'm going to do 3 points of, no. Yes, 3 points of valor. Absolutely. 3 points of valor. Resourceful in battle, I feel like, is something that could be applied. I don't know if we could let widely traveled, considering I brought the East with me, apply.
Not particularly, unless... is there anything you know about the terrain in the Eldershire that would give you a tactical advantage? It may.
out of character, I vaguely remember glancing over Eldershire. I feel like it's wooded. In character, meh.
Let's give it to you.
Then I would like to look down. Well, he's probably... How tall would you say Jolly is?
Tina, how tall is Jolly? No.
I
Jolly's
would say he's had his first growth spurt, so he's like not super child short, but also not quite
Jolly's
full grown.
5'4". Jolly's
Okay.
5'4".
So I tilt my head down and I look at him standing next to me, and I'm like, King Jolly, are you ready?
Always.
You have a brave heart. What you lack in experience on the field, you gain in your knowledge. I have faith in you. And I would like to expend the tag Battle Sibling.
Oh, that works. That gives you +3.
And I think that is all. 3/3.
You're currently trying to beat, I believe, let me double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're trying to beat a 7.
Oh. You've been throwing like 12s at us since like the very beginning, and I'm like, this battle's a 7?
It starts at a 7, but it's going to get progressively worse.
Oh, fair. Fine. Well, I want to make a big splash to begin this scene. And, okay, so that takes it down to... Do I roll?
What's your total venture? So, essentially, think of Visible Sun. You have a venture, so add up your attractive qualities plus your legendary
3, 3,
tag.
and 2. That was 8, I believe.
You don't need a roll. You succeed.
Okay. We come in with a bang. It's like the Mulan scene where all the Huns are coming down the hill. All of us. We're about to come down here.
There we go. And yeah, we just collide. And it's almost like it is almost as if a beautiful ocean of silver, glass, steel. These warriors from the east, a lot of them are wearing pearl white armor with golden trim. Some have silver trim. These eastern warriors, too, they stand much taller than those of the Land Royal. The average height's probably between 6'5" and 7 feet. They are just, these tall. Yes, these are large individuals that make use of the reach. And this isn't a case of David and Goliath either. No. They're just able to attack from a good range, and they are dominating the combat. Pro, what's something else that happens during the fray? Raid.
Let's see here. I think something else that happens during the raid is that not only did they bring their warband with them, but they brought their mounts, and they're these large snow elks that they kind of ride, instead of horses, because it's a very it's like a cold kind of Viking-esque kind of area, right? So them they're very iconic, and when you face them. So I think that is kind of brought into the scene. This kind of iconic moment of horses versus elk versus these Goliaths, 7 feet tall people.
They're huge. It's as if every NBA team was multiplied by 100. These are the Eastern Legions. So on the snow elks, these beautiful, glowing army that is, there's something very celestial about them in the sunset. However, they bring all the fires of hell with them. So go ahead and make a roll for me. you'll get to add 3 to your roll.
It's almost like they come pristine because they want to show how much blood they've gathered in battle.
Cleaning their armor and their weapons is their favorite pastime.
Yeah.
Delightful.
Who's rolling?
You go ahead and roll.
Oh, I'm rolling shit. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you said Jeff.
No. All right.
Not
Hey, that's a
either,
7.
Daniel.
You made the text. So they come in and they are clashing spot on. And it's one of those things as they go from like a pearl glow to almost like a bright blood color as they are just, getting drenched in all of the anguish of battle. Just it's raining about them as they come on. Next, Em, why don't you narrate a scene from this montage?
Does it have to be a scene, or can I add a complication that Jess has to answer?
It can be a complication that Jess has to answer.
Excellent. Okay. At some point during this battle, let's say, I think the Lunar Republic, they've got scouts, they've got assassins, we've established that before. And early on in this battle, someone got a bead on Jolly. They know who he is. And they know who you are. And so at some point during this battle, Jolly gets separated from you. And it's a very purposeful sort of move. But suddenly you look up and he's not there. However, this is during a pretty key point in the battle where they need you to be where you are at this moment. So what do you do?
So I imagine, yes, I am lost in the bloodthirst of battle, and as I look over and realize Jolly is no longer by my side, I will let out a piercing whistle and signal to Farkas to brave the battles and find the Boy King.
Oh no, so we're going to have to do a Farkas check. If you lose both the boy and the wolf, I'm going to cry. Right here on stream.
No! I believe in the wolf, Farkas!
My mind's already constructing the montage with the slow-mo and the music.
I've cried at exactly one time in my life. It was Iron Will when the dogs nearly died. So you got to keep this alive. Yeah, it's the only time I ever went to the movie.
We're gonna have to put this on that website. Does the dog die? Unrestful Hearts.
No.
Oh, no.
Just I'm gonna need you to make a Farkas check. So
Okay.
Farkas always puts the +3, but he can only be used for in this sort of way one time.
I know. I've been waiting.
Come on, boy.
Farkas,
Come on.
find the boy. Live. Fight.
Go get Jolly. Go get Jolly, boy. Go get Jolly.
Yes.
Comes back with a bunch of rabbits. Farkas. So describe where and how he finds Jolly.
He hears my call, and he knows the scent of Jolly, and he's darting frantically through the fields until he catches the scent of Jolly's sweat and perhaps a faint trace of his blood. And you see Jolly surrounded by two, I would hope, more common soldiers. And he's fighting his way with his dual-wielding knife boy self. And Farkas backs him up, and he just leaps into the middle of it by his side.
Well, finally, Farkas picks him up by the scruff and starts carrying him back. No! Just goes limp, drops him at your feet like a pup.
You idiot! Be aware of your battle. You can't let people just sidestep you and push you away. You must command your spot and never move. Stay by my back.
It nods. Yeah. You can tell this isn't the first battle Jolly has been in. Though he is naive and he is not as tried as you are, he has most likely seen the horrors and atrocity of war, such as the life in House D'Estelle. Now, we focused a lot on Cataline, but there is another knight who is, or former knight, really a leader of Sphinxes. So what of the Battle Master? Poisel, let's go ahead and frame a moment for Chev Antimony, the letter sender.
So, I think when Dionysia pulled back with her dragoons were supposed to guard the flank to the heart of our station, of our defenses, and so it left open the left flank, and we come in on the scene with the Lunar Empire right there in the midst of the center of the unified forces of the Land Royal, and I think coming in, we see fighting all around right in the camps, and Antimony is down on the ground fighting as well. They still, since the many years ago, have abstained from the blade, but they fight with a long staff. It looks like it was broken off of one of the tents, like a center pole, and they spin around, deflecting blows and crumpling armor with it, trying to rally the defense of the group.
Let's see if the rally is successful. So I'd like you to make a check. The difficulty in the challenge is 7.
Okay. I think I'm going to expend my tag for Unifier.
That'll cut it in half, round it down, so it's a 3, because it's the act of unification of the houses.
Yeah, so that'll pull that, try to pull people back together, and then I think this is where Antimony is disciplined as one of their attractive qualities. And so even in the midst of all of this, they are trying to direct their orders precisely and distinctly. And they are disciplined in this, and they are still acting with grace. They're still graceful.
I agree on all accounts. So what does that bring you to before you've spent any points?
That adds +2, and you said the tag brought it down to 3, so I need to roll a 1 or better. So as long as
all right. 0.
So as long as I got 0, so we'll see. And I indeed did roll a 0.
No!
Right. Sort of narrate how this goes. All the houses seem to be breaking, almost symbolically. Just as they are being dismantled in capital, they are falling apart on the front. Now, it is clear to Antimony, the Land Royal will win the day, but the knights will not ride together. Given that the knights have won the day, I'd like to, if it's all right, to shift from sort of this war scene to a more personal scene. I'd like Cataline to have the opportunity to see the the grave of Sarah Helena, who was murdered in cold blood.
Nobody sent a letter to me.
Oh.
I didn't know. Okay, so how did I find out then?
There's a spot in the backs of the camps that is guarded. The guards of that camp are 2 dragon knights who were loyal to Helena. When Helena stood up and said that she would lead the dragons, these were dragons that were willing to follow her. And they stand guard and watch. And they guard that site in rounds and rotations round the clock. But that is essentially... there is a small silver casket. Her armor is laid on top of it ceremonially. And that is where she's kept. There are torches around it as well.
Okay. So Kathleen, being familiar with war, went into wandering through the camps to go pay respects to who's been lost, as is customary. And upon seeing this casket and knowing the armor, I dropped to my knees. I look at the dragons, and this would be a moment they'll remember because they would never see Cataline break face. And she asks them, How?
They look at you. One of them has a small wooden box that's sort of kept tucked away. He opens it, and there is a small black sparrow inside. He speaks to you. He says, "Follow this sparrow, and it will lead you to the assassin." And with that, the sparrow begins to slowly fly south back towards capital, following a trailing legion of fleeing dragons.
No. This... a cowardly betrayal? Is that what you imply?
They look at each other and they say, "The betrayal was not cowardly, but it was calculated. The one who did this is not someone to be trifled with. They are strong. They are cunning.
The perfect knight deserves more. Nobody told me. I understand. Time is of the essence. I must lock away this grief, and I apologize for my weakness. It will not do anyone to see me like this, but I will not let it affect me tomorrow when I am most needed."
They look at you. They look at each other. They say, "Are you Sir Cataline, captain of the wolves?"
There's an anime thought bubble. And chibi Cataline envisioning just bitch slapping them with the hilts of my sword, being like, "Of course I am, you twits." Outwardly, yes, that is me.
one looks at you, and you see within his long ceremonial battle gown, removes a sword from his sheath. Dionysia took Helena's blade, but it was a false one. We kept the real one for you, per Helena's wishes. And so they present you with Sir Helena's sword, the sword of the perfect knight. The criminal takes trophies. However, her blade is not sharp, not like this one.
Your loyalty is seen, and I cannot thank you enough for saving such a relic, such a tool, and keeping it out of her hands.
Where you go, we follow. And they swear themselves to your allegiance. Is there any other moments we want to play out in my scene for this? We can play them out, or we can shift the focus, the camera, and who would like control of the scene. Because my question was essentially answered. The knights won the day, but they fell apart at the end, and Kathleen has learned of Helena's death.
I was going to say, during that scene, Sir Kathleen is... as these knights are swearing to her, if she turns in any way, like if she looks kind of off, you can see within the camp, just kind of dourly standing there, wounded on slightly from the battle, leaning on a long staff, is Antimony. Their hair disheveled. Still probably dirty from the fighting. A great sadness upon their face.
Yeah. I would accept the knight's fealty and turn away, and would see Antimony, would recognize a friend, and try to gather myself enough to find strength to support. And I approach. It's been so long. Are you being tended to?
It's, this is nothing. The healers are needed elsewhere. I'm sorry we could not reach you. We did not know where you could be found.
It's true. The journey was long, and unfamiliar territories. It would have been a waste of resource and time for such communications.
And Sir Helena's betrayal was so sudden. It happened, and then the Lunar Empire was upon us immediately after. I can see now that the betrayal of Dionysia was planned, was executed. And I want you to know that this is my responsibility to bear. I have too much faith that we could come together, that we could be unified.
You're right. I too have been blinded by optimism. Maybe one can even say a flavor of naivete. it's not your burden and your blame alone. Helena wasn't afraid to speak harshly and plainly, and the insult lacked tact. But there will be a time for us to figure things out. You're right. The attack was inopportune, and we need to fight with everything we've got to defend ourselves and bring back the kingdom together.
We have beaten back the Empire, but there are still enemies on our shores, in the heart of our lands.
Seems like a never-ending battle, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Jolly rides up on a black Andalusian horse and is riding triumphantly. And he nods at Antimony. He says, I intend to ride to capital, and I intend to claim the throne. It is my duty and my birthright, and it is the final task that I have before me. Will you ride with me?
Yes, although the Empire, they have been beat back, but we will have fighting yet to come. The betrayers must be dealt with.
Shall we hunt them down?
Yes, justice must prevail this day. If we were to have any hope of a lasting peace, there must be justice.
Jolly looks, nods, and sets off on the horse full speed, riding to take the front.
Oh,
and that's where we'll end the scene. Who would like to set the next scene? What questions do we have to answer? So we know now that the knights fought bravely in the Eldershire. They held, though they could not stay completely unified, they did defeat the Lunar Republic. However, we know that there is a dragon assassin. There is a lot of turmoil and strife in capital. There's a lot of loose threads. Who would like to take one of those threads and start to tie it up?
I would. I'm more of a personal scene, and that Danielle has, and I don't know. I think it's more of like an open-ended question. So seeing that like with Trist, and I think the scene kind of is perhaps maybe before Beatrice's execution, so we don't know what happens with that. So it's like the night before. So if like a jailbreak is about to happen, it can happen like in tandem or like whenever, right?
Do we want to run those together or run right into that? If anyone wants to do that following scene, could be interesting.
Jailbreak right after sounds like a good idea. Yeah, sure. Were you suggesting like a cut from one to the other and cut back situation, or a?
No, I mean it can be after. Like so, like this happened.
Yeah,
and, like
probably follow on from it.
That would be easier. Yeah.
Donald's been practicing Tumblr systems all day. Just like they can do these locks.
Oh Lord! Oh Lord!
He gets fed up and just smashes them with his strength. Donald's strength.
Yeah, you vastly overestimate Porphyria's capacity for subtlety.
So go ahead and frame the scene where you'd like it to take place. I will be right back in about 2 minutes.
Okay.
But feel free to sort of begin and play it out.
Yeah, so I think the scene takes place in the garden. It's an open garden now, but it's nighttime. The secret garden that no one knows about.
The secret garden.
The very secret garden that no one knows about.
The secret garden that's public.
The secret garden of secrets.
The secret garden in every single memory of the cast.
You know,
Yeah.
the garden.
Have you heard of the secret garden? That's right. so
that's my favorite
I'm
thing.
gonna lampshade that somehow.
I know, right? Jesus. Yes, I think it happens there, and it's night, and I think the moon is heavy and full, and I think it happens. I think it happens in the actual secret area where the rose garden is, and where you had gone to Danielle when everything had transpired.
The actual secret part of this garden.
The secret,
Listen,
secret
it doesn't
part.
all have to be a secret.
That's true.
The really
secret part.
The secret
Nice.
rose garden within the not so secret garden. Yes.
Yeah, and I think there's like a little stable built there, and we see kind of glitter mane that's there as well. Like this like beautiful like white majestic horse with just like ribbons down, like multicolored ribbons. So it's just this like rainbow mane. So and I think Daniel Hunt is there, and they see you. Would you be like wearing your full garb here?
I think once Trista enters the area that is definitely closed off from others, the mask at least will come down, and then the hood, revealing the much shorter than it used to be red hair. Hangs about chin length or so, a little bit tousled, but it's that unmistakably bright crimson color.
And I think Daniel sees this, and they're wearing the armor as always, just in case. And they have a rose in their hands, and they're kind of twirling it back and forth, and they just say, Alexandra,
Thought I'd find you here. And she sort of nods to the horse and Glittermane.
Yes, some things haven't changed, I guess.
Indeed. It's nice to see this place is still the same, at least.
Yes. My sister's garden and my sister's horse. Vibrant, as always.
Are you doing all right? With all of this, I mean.
Truthfully, this has been incredibly hard, but I can't help but be happy. I have assassins at my back. The capital is doing all right, but I fear what enemies are on the horizon. We have a war going on where I have not heard word of yet. But I am glad you chose to come back.
Wasn't an easy decision. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I didn't come back expecting to find you. Came back with revenge, Daniel.
I know. And I understand that urge for revenge. The fire. Have you achieved it?
No, but find it hard to see that it matters anymore. There are bigger things, more important things than personal vendettas.
Indeed. It is strong of you. I've always seen you as such.
Give me far too much credit.
I don't think anyone else could have survived the hardships you've been through. You've done incredible for yourself. And I have to say that with you here, Little Maine, it reminds me of better times. You, me, and my sister would just enjoy the moments.
She pauses, looking a little sad momentarily because there was definitely someone else that was sometimes in those memories, and she's pointedly not thinking of Caswin. Yes. I was very stupid back then. You know?
So was I. I thought kneeling at an altar and praying to Lord of Light would fix everything. Never realizing that it took our own hands to truly do better.
Well, you've learned. And I don't think I've seen anyone work as hard as you. And under the conditions that you do. And she sort of looks meaningfully to the armor. She knows why he wears it. Her eyes are always looking for others that might be aiming.
I see your eyes are always on the lookout just in case. You know, they intimidate almost everyone here. They're strong and full of fire.
Good.
But they have always brought me happiness and warmth. I do not mean to speak out of turn, but I have missed them. There's a comfort that I haven't had in a long time.
Well, it's always good to see a friendly face again. If I do my job right, yours will be here much longer. I owe you my life. I intend to pay it in kind.
You owe me nothing. You have always been one who I would give it all for. I'm sorry I speak out of turn. I know. I've always felt that with you, Alexandra, looking upon you, your eyes that shone as bright as the star of the sky itself, the sun, that there is truth to the sermons that I always heard in church. So we can find beauty in the Lord's land.
Honestly. You always had a way with words, didn't you?
Not always. I remember the day you announced your engagement to Caswin.
Ah, yes.
That was the day I felt my voice shrink and I thought I would never say another word again.
Well, as I said, I was a bit stupid back then. Didn't see what was right in front of me. And I'm sorry. But I'm wiser now.
I'm not the person you once knew.
Aren't
I
you?
hope that is all right. I have done bad things. Made agreements behind people's backs. Caused people to die.
And I have poisoned people in cold blood, snuck into their houses in the night and murdered them while they slept. I'm not the girl you once knew either.
Wow. Who are we but people trying to survive? You should be
Indeed.
the one wearing the throne of hearts. Because even though I bear the crown, you have always had mine.
Well, I don't know what to say. What do we do with this then?
Whatever you wish.
She turns and walks over to where Glittermane is, takes a moment, stroking the horse's mane, fixing some ribbons, clearly trying to give herself time to process words because she is not good with words. In this together? Always?
And forever. If you'd have me.
Of course I will. It's not what I came back for, but it's what I'm glad I found.
And I think with that, Daniel would kind of come over to you and would hand you the rose. And on it are 2 rings that are almost like woven lattices of vines with like a heart shape on it. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of says, I do not know what will come of tomorrow, but I know that if I have you with me, I can at least bear it.
My goodness. You and your little surprises. She'll take one of the rings and take the other and put out a hand for theirs.
They'll put their hand out. Tears welling up.
She will slide it on. We'll see what tomorrow brings, but we'll see it together. Indeed.
And if they'll allow, Daniel would probably kiss them. And I think that's like the screen, unless the living out universe, the screen panning up to the moon.
Back in the silhouette.
Prison break.
Yeah.
That was great.
Sarah moves in. Orphelia on Donald's back as he's climbing one paw at a time.
What's going on, guys?
It's perfect.
You know they have stairs. Yeah. Stairs are for people that skip arm day, you know?
You see a wall, I see a workout.
Raid!
Oh, snap.
Snacks. Hello,
It's the wandering DM. Simon, my friend Simon. Hello, Simon.
Hello, Simon.
Hello.
Now, yeah, that was an awesome scene. So are we moving on to a prison break? Is that the next scene we want? If so, who would like to set it?
Apparently.
It sounds like it.
Mm-hmm. All right, Em, why don't you set it and frame it?
I think as much as I love the idea of Donald just literally fucking scaling the wall to get there, I think what the scene opens up in as is actually Orphelia with Donald trailing behind her very purposefully and furiously striding into the dungeon or whatever where Beatrice is being held, heading straight for her cell.
Okay.
With the goal of trying to convince her herself to change her decision. Because straight up breaking her out of prison isn't going to change anything because it's Beatrice's decision. I don't want to go against that. However, I will say Donald is prepared to do whatever the heck is necessary to get her out of here if this goes sideways, though.
That is exactly weird.
Donald with, like, you know, 5 different flavors of lockpick, hiding 6 different weapons underneath his robes, etc., etc.
Yeah, Donald's favorite lockpick is a giant pair of Chan locks. He just grabs the lock and snaps it off with. It just works every time. It's finesse. Sorry, in chat. Yeah. Soldiers and Smooches is the name of the game. The original pitch title. So we are running down the halls into the dungeon, and the dungeon is not a tall tower like where Council Lorenz was kept under watch of Caswin. This is a deep place within a catacomb in the far reaches of Capital, not near to the castle proper itself. This was an ancient sacrificial site in the days of the Old Kingdom, before the land royal came under its own sovereignty. The ancient tribes practiced many dark and vile arts here, and it is said that it is here they will break Beatrice of spirit and mind before executing her publicly. That's not the way they typically do it, but she does have this twin and another nemesis known as Every Raven in Capital that are going to see that Beatrice is made an example of. So, alas, we set the scene. We are headed to the catacombs. There is a guard at the door, though. There are several. As Orphelia is charging, they call out to halt. They are wearing heavy black cloaks. The rain is starting to fall in Capital.
Out of my way. There's someone I need to see.
You're not permitted.
What do you mean I'm not permitted?
We are under strict orders to not open this door for anyone.
Well, then your orders are wrong. My name is Chevrolet DeLine, and I'm entering this facility out of my way. And I look at Donald.
Donald pulls out his great sword, which he once beheaded 4 bandits with. Laird Danielle would remember. He calls out to the 2 guards. He says, "You will depart or you will die." They kind of look at each other and say, "We're going to depart." They now recognize, as lightning flashes, they see Orphelia's face for the first time, and they're like, "It's the lion." You know, Orphelia is known as the lion to most of these guards around. It has been a while since her exploits have began. These 2 guards were present on the day she battled the Dragon Queen. Some of them were there as she led soldiers into battle. They know who she is, and they depart at Donald's command. And I did make a check for Donald over here. He had succeeded. And with that, the doors are open. Do you go inside?
Mm-hmm.
All right. As you go in, you descend down many steps. They are unnaturally slippery. There are the faces of what once were human beings plastered across the walls. These are their bone visages. The skulls themselves line these walls. It smells like old, dusty medicine in here. And there is a faint rattling and creaking as there's a sort of atmospheric change as you open these doors, which haven't been opened since Beatrice was placed inside. delving deep beneath the earth through this narrow vein and passageway, you come to a lit room. In this room is a group of ravens: Diggory, Mason, Jory, Uther, and Kenwyn. "We're on guard," they say as Ophelia enters, "and none are allowed to go past this point, not even you."
Are you certain about that? And
Donald is like gasping for air, catching behind, sweating. He's brought a lot of gear. He's like, "I'm sorry." They go, "We are absolutely positive." And they all draw weapons at once. They say,
"If you really want to make this difficult, then fine. But please, just let me through."
They look at each other. They say, "Well, what's the alternative?"
You leave, I go in, you never say anything about this, and then I go out the way I came in. That sounds a lot easier, doesn't it? For all of us.
It would be.
And I kind of casually draw my blade.
It would be, except we won't live because of them. And they point over, and you see in the back corner of the room with eyes on you, Alicinda, crossbow drawn, Council Lorenz, who has recently been hatched, and the head of the guards, your older brother, Caswin.
Cool. Meta question, am I playing Caswin and Ophelia now?
You don't have to. I can portray him for the scene, or someone else can grab him, either Pro or J1 or J2 or Poisel. Anyone can. Caswin's up for grabs.
This all you need to do is make him awful.
This piece of garbage. Donald pulls the greatsword out again and says, picks up Ophelia and runs like a football and shoves her through the door and closes it behind her. And all you hear is the clashing of blades.
Donald!
Run! He shouts.
Okay, which door did he throw me through? Like the way I came in, or?
No, the way forward.
Okay.
He just figured he was like, "Look, sometimes you've got to punt." It sounds like all hell is breaking loose, by the way. Barnyard animals, screams.
Donald, give me 2 minutes. I'll be right there.
I'll try.
Look it down the rest of the hallway, hoping that Donald can keep it up for 2 minutes. Oh, and throw me a sword, wouldn't you?
You have your own blade.
Oh, I know. I'm asking you to throw me another one.
Oh, okay. The door kicks open. You can see Donald's face is already covered in blood. You can't tell if it's his own or those around him. You see Alicinda shoots, and a heavy crossbow bolt shoots into his shoulder, which he then snaps, pulling the point out, and he's gashed, and he rams it into the throat of one of the ravens, killing him instantly. And he kicks you a long, lean, black blade. He goes, "Snatch that one off of Alicinda's belt." She's furious that he stole her sword, her new one.
Nice work. I'll be back in a second.
Go quickly, he says. As you can see, he turns, and he's just getting swarmed.
Right, okay. And I book it down the hallway, trying to get to Beatrice.
Okay. At the end of the hallway, there is a single dark door. It is currently locked from the outside. It is made of heavy, cold iron. On the front of the door is the face of a horrifying gargoyle staring you down. Beatrice is most likely on the other side.
You said it's locked from the outside, so I can't open it?
You can't perceive where the lock would be on this. You're going to have to use your intellect to get it open.
Oh no. All right. So I said the only thing on this door that's noticeable is the gargoyle?
Yes.
Yes, I'm well aware that this is ridiculous. All right, when I think back, I'm going to knock on the gargoyle, actually, and see if there's any sort of mechanism to it.
All right. Make a check. Make a check. So it's a cerebration check if you have any. If you have any qualities that you think add, or if you have any legendary qualities that you want to expend, we can see.
Okay, I'm going to spend 2 points of cerebration, and my resourceful quality might matter here.
100%. Yep. And it's a difficulty 7.
Difficulty 7. Okay, I can count on that. Yeah, I'm going to do that one later. Oh, that's a 9 on the die.
Woo! So you knock, the mouth of the gargoyle opens and just goes, "Brrr," and the door kind of a weird mist comes out of it, and the door opens. Beatrice is dressed in what's essentially a ritualistic sacrificial attire. It's a beautiful gown if it wasn't designed to be the last thing that she would wear. It is scarlet in color. Her hair has been cut very short and choppy. And you can see that she has been mistreated by the guards in a number of different ways. The second she sees you, though, she stands tall and strong. She will not allow herself to stand weakly before you. And she looks as though she, for all intents and purposes, she assumes that she is dead now that she has seen you. She's like, "My strength must have failed. I didn't make it through the night."
No. I've come to put an end to this silly farce you've created for yourself. Come on. We don't have much time.
And the last thing she sort of says to you, she's sort of stunned. She just says, "I promised our mother I'd save her. It was the last card I had to play. At this point, Alicinda's on her own." Beatrice is having a hard time walking, but she follows.
Okay.
She looks at Alicinda's blade, though, and she's kind of like reaching for it. She's like, "I'm wounded, I'm beaten, but some things are more about technique."
Right. Well, that should make this next part easier. I expect
she gets kind of she kind of gets a little smile on her face. She goes, "Remember the way you disarmed me over dinner that time?" And she thinks back to several episodes prior when you dueled each other over who would have to go pick up the tossed dishes. She goes, "I think there's a few new tricks I might be able to show that sister of mine."
Fantastic. And I think with that, Orfila kind of grabs her by the hand, and then they race down the hallway back to where Donald is.
Okay. As you kick the door open, there is a scene unlike any other. Donald is on his knees. Caswin has obviously run off. That happened as soon as the fight began. He got out of there. There are 5 dead ravens. However, one living raven has stabbed Donald through both shoulders, and Donald is literally on his last legs. He has lost a great deal of blood. He has not fallen yet. Alicinda looks up as the door opens, and she sees Chev Beatriz and Chev Orphelia come crashing through the door.
As we arrive, I walk up to Donald and sort of pat him on the shoulder. You've done enough.
Hi, Orphelia.
Hi.
Yeah, and he smiles at you. He goes, I did really good, except for the part where she kept stabbing me. I normally don't wish ill on people, but can you kill that bitch? And then he looks at Alicinda. This is the first time you've heard Donald swear. Alicinda looks angry, and she's going to run him through. What do you do?
Oh, I don't think so. I'm going to dive in and meet her strike and hopefully turn it around on her.
Okay. This is a little different. This is a difficulty 10.
All right. Well, I've got a Justice and Mercy tag that seems appropriate for this situation, maybe.
I'll let you spend... is that one tag or two tags?
That's one tag.
Okay,
I
so
also have the company of friends, if that counts. Okay.
That won't for this one, but you cut it in half to a 5, so
okay,
you're currently at 5.
Okay, then I'm also going to spend 2 of dashing. So
you'll need a 3 or higher.
Only 3 or higher. Okay, that's a 6.
Woo! It's one of those moments where she goes to run Donald through and narrate for us how it looks to you as you disarm Alicinda.
Okay. So she goes in, I think, with an overhead strike, intending to fully, decapitate him. And I actually leap from behind, meet her strike, turn it around, and then I kind of look over to Beatriz and give her a wink, and then use that same move that I used to disarm her back when we originally fought, to send Alicinda's sword spinning out of the room.
That you most certainly do. She turns and she starts running. Do you chase after her?
I do.
All right. This is also going to be a check, difficulty 10, to catch her.
Okay. I guess I'm going to use the rest of my dashing then. So 3 more of that, which puts me, I think, at 1 now. And then would bold or resourceful count here?
Both, actually.
Excellent. Okay. So I'll bring that up 5. Okay. Sorry, God, if she gets away again. That's a 3.
Whew. All right. She's running. However, your squires level up after different sessions and are able to add to rolls. I wanted to see if you'd catch her, or Donald, from his knees, who has picked up her heavy crossbow, shoots, gets her right in the back, and she drops dead before she hits the ground.
I turned to Donald.
Donald's eyes just sort of roll back and he drops unconscious. But Beatriz is tending to him.
Donald! I'd kind of run up to him. And
he's breathing.
Together.
We got to pick him up.
Actually, question: are those guards from before still around?
They scrammed.
The ones at the very beginning. At the very beginning, did they scram like full scram, or did they just let us in? Scram?
They're probably nearby. You're gonna get them to help.
Okay, in that case, yeah, I'm gonna walk up to the entrance and call out, "Excuse me, is anyone around?"
They kind of stick their head back. They poke. There you go. They just kind of look down the hallway. They see Alicinda's dead body. See a bunch of ravens. They nod and they follow.
Good. Right. Don't ask any questions. I just, if you could help me, and I kind of point to Donald. We need to get that man on a horse, and we need to do it quickly.
They get him. Donald, as they move him, has this like goofy, rested smile on his face, like he knows that he's done good. However, he is currently out of touch with the world at the moment. And they pick him up, and they get him on a horse. They say, "Where shall we send him? Where are you headed?"
I look to the prison, and I look back at the direction of capital. Home. And I think we can kind of probably... Oh, go ahead. Unless there's anything you wanted to add.
No, I was actually adjusting the clock, the scene clock, just because we've had a few scenes.
Gotcha.
And with that, yeah. If that's good for you, it's good for me. And time to set the next scene. So, Poisel or Cataline or Joe, what's the next scene we'd like to set? Do we want to hunt a dragon queen? No.
Do we?
I think so. So when Orphelia said home, is that capital or not capital?
I was thinking capital there, yes.
Okay. Then I
if there was another thing that I had missed that you would have thought of there that is better, I'm very much open to that, though.
No, I just didn't know if you were staying in capital or leaving capital, because if you're leaving capital, that changes an idea.
The healing houses. It's on the way.
That's what I was thinking.
Hot spring episode.
Oh
Do it.
That's how it ends.
I can't not have 2 Hot Spring episodes with Donald in them. So yes, absolutely, that's where we're going.
Okay.
It's probably the spot.
I will say we are going to capital after that, though.
Fair. It's not far from here. So next scene.
I was like, is Antimony, because Antimody's wounded. I'm like, does Antimony go to the hot springs?
Oh my god, that would be so funny.
Totally can.
Because the army takes a long time to move.
Does the does the hot springs fix broken hearts?
Well, here's what I was actually thinking. The hot springs is owned by the dragon family. Remember, there's a chance it's Dionysia's hot springs.
Oh, it's probably her fucking business venture.
The Sparrow lands, and it's just kind of like all these trains collide at the hot springs.
Oh no!
Because
is she in the hot spring gloating over her victory with another glass of cheap wine?
Not cheap anymore. The dragons have had a resurgence.
It's the most
That's fair. She's upgraded from boxed wine.
Fantasy boxed wine.
Because the army takes a while to move, but Jolly is riding with intent to catch.
Mm-hmm.
God,
I the scene where Sir Kettle.
In my mind, Jolly's riding with the army, and Jolly is following. Okay, so I want to play around with some of the ideas here. I think Dionysia is sent to the dragoons to secure one of the old dragon estates, because she knows that in the chance that the Lunar Empire was defeated, that they were going to be coming for her. But she is not with the full army, the dragoon army. She is has a meeting set up at the hot springs. So it's just her and a few of her elites at the hot springs meeting with one of her contacts from the Westlands. Because she, if I remember correctly from last episode, the actual killer of the Perfect Night were hired Westland assassins.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so this her meeting at the hot springs is just her dealing with her contacts from the Westlands. And so Jolly is riding with the unified army, what remains of it, back towards capital. But Sir Kathleen and Antimony and a few others have followed the diverted trail of the Sparrow and arrive at the hot springs instead.
So, what question do we want to answer at the hot springs?
Does she die?
The fate of Dionysia.
Okay.
That seems fair.
This is going to be a high-stakes scene. It's the final episode. So, what stakes do the knights want to put up? Either Dionysia escaping? Do you want to put up one of your lives? Do you want to put up... you got to set some stakes. It could even just be victory of the situation, and you can narrate the outcome.
I think the stakes are Dionysia doesn't want to have a full-on confrontation if she can avoid it, and will try to escape.
Okay.
Is part of the stakes there. I don't see this as maybe like the precursor to the actual end fight with her, because we have about an hour and a half or hour a bit still of time, so there can be a little bit more play around with this.
All right. So let's set the scene. Frame to me, Poisel, how it looks as Antimony, Cataline, and who's riding with you? How many others?
I think it is Antimony, Kathleen,
Christina?
a few. I think Christina is riding with Jolly.
With Jolly. They have matching Andalusian horses.
Yeah.
For house horse.
And I think it is with a small contingent of wolves and sphinxes that ride with them. And so like the beginning of the scene is the Sparrow just like flaps and then finally lands and just like is sitting on the big archway gate that leads to the path that goes up to the hot springs, and just like lands there and just like sits and like watches people. It's like, okay, I'm done with my job. Here is
the camera pans. You see the hot springs. Careless Whisper begins to play out the windows. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Couldn't resist.
And unbeknownst to us, at like approximately the same time, there are horses being stabled on the other side of the hot springs, and like Donald and Orphelia are showing up.
Yep. I imagine those two dumb guards. Those two dumb guards have gone the whole way. They're just like, let's run away for the rest of our lives, and like they're just gonna help move Donald however they need to. All right.
Yeah, in my head, this is all setting up as like this weird, like farcical movement of people throughout this hot springs.
Yes. As every good episode should.
Gonna spend all my narrative points on making the hot springs like a 9-point passion location.
God.
How much passion do I have? I can add to this.
All right, so let's so go ahead and frame the scene how you'd like to see it play out, and I'll let you know if there's any narrative checks we got to make along the way.
So yeah, I think down at the bottom of the trail up, the Sparrow lands, and Chef Antimony dismounts with Sir Kathleen, so we can move up a little bit more surreptitiously, and I direct the soldiers to the wolves to move out and kind of move silently through the woods, flanking up to the hot springs, and the Sphinx to move around to one of the other entrances around this hill, and a couple others to stay here and watch this entrance along with our horses as we move up.
I would like to say that as the sparrow lands here in front of the hot springs and we start making our way towards it, I grit my teeth and address Intimidate. And I'm like, this place of relaxation and healing is tied to this witch. Are we to assume she's monetizing on such luxuries?
Well, probably. This seems like...
The last time we see her, what wasn't she drinking one step above grape juice?
Well, we don't know who she's been working with, whether she has made some sort of arrangement to better her position. We don't know what's going to be in there. We need to be careful.
We clear the building and we burn it down. We build a better one.
If we can do so safely, Sir Captain.
I want nothing. No point of happiness should be linked to her darkened soul.
I'll clasp Sir Cataline on the arm with my good hand and be like, you will have your justice.
Okay. Full brooding. No one has ever seen her actually be emo, Cataline. That was in her younger days. But this is like, nope, we're done here. We approach.
Yeah.
Sorry. Familiar knight rides up on his donkey.
Oh,
No, not this asshole.
Literally, old hee-haw himself, Caswin the Lion. I deserve a vacation. I've worked hard. I heard there's good box wine here. On tap.
Oh,
no.
Clearly, we ran out of all the drama. It's time to just, yeah.
He's like, BYOB, bring your own box wine. He's like stolen on the way out. It's like ceremonial.
Wow.
Like,
wow.
All right. So, yeah, we'll skip on. So as you go in, yes. So as you approach the hot springs and you enter, it's early morning by this point. The others they rode all night long. Donald, of course, has when they showed up, they just had to ask for the usual. Donald has frequented this hot spring several times over the course of the game. Not everyone even knows about it. He just sometimes goes on the weekends. Don't judge. He's got to treat himself nice. That's what he does. So yes, Donald's been put in the Donald tub.
In my head, if Donald's coming here, like outside of like on screen things, like Donald has like this like relationship with one of like the people that works here. And it's just that kind of like that very like that slow burn flirting, like.
Is
Donald,
he or is he not oblivious to it?
He is absolutely oblivious to it. He's just
I'd say, well,
they're just really nice to me. Like this is.
Oh, they're so nice to me, man. They always compliment my solid 4-pack. It's like
it's really great to be known as a regular.
Yes, and it's just like they always give me free sodas. Every now and then they bring me extra crumble cake, and he's just like, it's so nice. But back to the scene at hand. So there is the sound of hushed voices in a room to the right. Donald is being treated in a room to the left, and then there is a more open area where you can go. Which would you like to proceed? To the right. The language being spoken is not that of the Land Royal. Antimony would recognize it, though.
Yeah, I would like to try to listen in on what is happening in the room to the right. Antimony is moving with very much a callback to season, or like episodes 1 and 2, with very much in the... Antimony is trained in being kind of surreptitious and sneaky, and kind of a little bit of a spy.
Yes, no check is required. You discern that they're speaking a language of a religion that belongs to the West folk. There are various hand signs being given. There is nods between each other which have special significance when used in such a way. It is a very cryptic language, and you can see this through blinds. You can see the forms. You can see the movements and the motions. You, being educated at the Intermuros, know all about this, as well as being a dragon. Your childhood home would not be far from here. So, alas, there is Dionysia, and for Westfolk. There seems to be a disagreement over payment, though. Surely the dragons are flush with money now. However, Dionysia is legendarily cheap. There was a price agreed upon. There also seems to be a disagreement about the authenticity of Helena's sword, which was to be delivered to the assassins. What do you do, Antimony?
I step back a little bit and whisper to Sir Kathleen. I'm like, we found our sneak and her hired blades. But she is not in a good position right now. They are angry with her. I have an idea. I need you to hold back, though, for a minute.
I'm listening.
You'll know it if I need you. But be prepared. And Antimony will push you around the side so that you can't be seen, and they're gonna open the door and just walk in with confidence and start kind of using that same Westland tongue to be like, Dionysia had no intention to ever pay you for your services. She is on the run, and if you continue to associate with her, you will go down as well.
Okay, you speak that. They seem shocked that the door opens, and they start. What? I want to name the jerks, but you got to pull up their names. So. So here we go. Their names are Berryman, Kerr, Kerno, Noel, and Pierce. And Penrose. Percy! Sorry. Phenomenal. Let me throw these sleazeballs names on there. Whoop. There we go. In fact, that one is incorrect. Okay. So, does Dionysia speak, or do the West folk speak first?
Why don't you let the West folk speak first?
Yeah, I've got that. I don't want to play them this way, but I'm going to end up playing them this way. the choice between Louisiana or North Carolina accents
Oh,
about that.
Lord.
She done said she was going to pay us with a sword.
Well, that one is obviously a fake. Just like everything just like all of her promises.
These as empty as a well during drought season. I'm sorry, these guys are quickly falling apart.
Apparently, the cheapness extends to the hired help.
Clearly. Only the can afford.
Dionysius spares every expense.
They said she was a lady of dragons, but she's more like a lady of worms. But we done allied with her. Who's you, and why are you coming in here into our private hot springs? Steam rises from an empty tub.
Me, I am. The former heir of the dragons. But their empty promises have sent many away from them. And they will send you away as well. I simply come to let you know that if you continue to associate with her, that ill will befall you from the land royal.
You have a say in this, Dionysia? Maybe you can make us a better offer, make it right. They are don't misjudge them by their voices. They are entrepreneurial.
Of course they are. Dionysia has been sitting there quietly, looking unflappable unless you're able to read the look that's in her eyes. She seems more than a little furious in that I've been made a fool of kind of way, not just pure anger, as she realizes that apparently the blade was a fake. Well, it seems there's been an error. My deepest apologies, gentlemen. You will be repaid in kind, of course. What sort of offer would you like? Surely more than a blade.
We want lands. That's right. Ancestral lands taken from the House of the Wolf.
Duly noted. When we get to capital and see our assets regained fully, we shall divide the lands you desire.
Awesome. We always wanted to go to the big city. Slap each other in the backs.
Yes, I'm certain you'll fit right in.
We happen to be a couple of sophisticates.
Clearly. Even so, if that blade is not real, it is at least sellable. You may keep it and do what you wish with it.
Well, with the new terms, they done made us an offer. They draw and prepare to come after Antimony. What happens?
I was going to say, she offers you things she has no right to and no power to. You'll be made a fool of once again.
I'm going to make it. Yeah, so the fictional positioning, these guys are willing to follow offers whether they are true or not because they tend to feel that there's a chance they will pay off. And if they don't, they'll simply kill the person that wronged them. They very well might have killed her. However, she's made an offer. So I need Antimony to make amount. They are. They're addicted too. I need Antimony to make a defense. It's going to be a difficulty of 8. Otherwise, they're going to seize.
Ask a question.
Yes.
So they're moving towards me with weapons drawn and like purpose.
They're going to try to seize you first, and then see if you make
Well,
them an offer after they've found you.
So in my defense, what I want to be doing is just raising my hands and stepping back through the door that's open behind me in hopes that they will follow me right into the waiting blade of Sir Catabine.
Okay, so that's what's going to be the check. So that is the defense. You're either going to get out. Cataline will know the outcome of this move one way or another, so she'll be able to jump in next. Go ahead and make a roll. It's a difficulty 8. You can spend whatever points you'd like.
I'm disciplined and graceful, and I will spend 3 points of dashing to give myself that little quicker step out of the way to be elusive.
Okay.
So that is +5 to my roll.
Mm-hmm.
And I rolled a 5 on the die, so that's a 10.
You jump out. As you come out, Cataline, you see a group of 4 lumbering Westfolk coming after Antimony from the room. You also see, now that their hulking frames are out of the way, Dionysia left alone in the room with the springs.
Can I have a second
yes.
Addendum, because I just think this would be hilarious, is Antimony kind of rolls out from the blades of these Westfolk out through the door, like looks at Catelyn and says, "This is the sign," but like kind of trips up a little bit and rolls through the wall into the next room on the other side of the hallway where Sir Donald and Ophelia are.
That's what I want. And to be honest, if you failed or Cataline's in trouble, I want Tau Donald to come busting through a wall, like jumping on someone. No!
Oh my word.
My babies! Yes. So yeah, you are now in the room with Ophelia and Donald. So
a piece of my spring.
Cataline, if you wish to defeat these West folks, it is a single check to defeat all of them. For you are a knight of legend. You don't have to, as some games, you don't have to attack each one individually. There's a group of them. It's a check of 8 to defeat this group.
Okay.
Or you can bypass them, let them chase after Antimony into the room with Ophelia, Beatrice, and Donald, and deal with the Dragon Queen. The choice is ultimately yours.
Okay. As I see the frantic, hurried rolling and signal, while I was listening to not understand anything that was going on because they're speaking some weird language, I would have drawn my sword, not the sword of the perfect knights, to be at the ready. And with these 4 hulking frames lumbering after my friend Antimony, I imagine do all of them have blades drawn and chasing?
They have various weapons, yes.
Okay.
Antimony did not look particularly worried, but
right. It was like, whoop, here we go. This is all to plan, no worries. You know what?
Everything's exactly as I wanted.
Yes, I absolutely will. You know, you said I was able to see the worm.
Yeah.
Okay.
The worm, yes.
Yes.
See us over there.
Okay. Okay. Well, it will take.
Gosh. Can we briefly retcon and just say she was having that entire conversation from one of the baths?
I hope so. It's just better.
In my head, all of the Westfolk fighters are also like robed for the baths and just have like short blades with them. Yeah.
Yes.
100%. I imagine they have like billy clubs.
Yeah, I'm assuming Dionysia I'm assuming Dionysia gives exactly as many fucks as it takes to just be there in the baths with her wine, talking to these guys.
It's beautiful.
It's an anime
It's a
fuck,
perfect
just fine.
frame.
This is an anime
it's fine.
I've seen. I know it.
Them in their robes.
All right.
Yeah, I definitely want a flurry to like disarm them and prevent them from chasing him chasing Intimity into the other room.
It's
You
a
said check it
difficulty
8.
8.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will spend. You know what? I'll spend 2 points of dashing. And I'm gonna spend the merciful one as a tag in framing it as a narrative of I am going to try to take the words to heart and to be like restraining myself. Like now is not the time to shed more blood. It's not necessarily going to fix anything. I just want to be able to knock them cold and make them hurt.
Okay. So that'll add 3.
So 2 and 3 is 5 and okay. All right. Okay. How are the cards?
What did you get?
2.
So you go, and that's one of those things where you prepare, like you get ready. They just run past you. So it's like Antimony comes into the hot springs like next to Ophelia. Then these big, like beefy guys just come in. They're all, they're just like, after them. And like they're pointing at Antimony and just chasing after them. So Donald sits up. Beatrice turns.
Yeah, or
dagger in hand.
Ophelia gives a quick look to Antimony, looks to Antimony, looks to these burly dudes, looks to Antimony. What did that big brain of yours get you into now? And I grab my sword from right behind me and I stand up.
All right.
Kind of cut to Catalina.
So Pro, do you want to grab an NPC?
I sort of feel like in the chaos of all of this, Dionysia might have just booked it. Like, I think she's
So wait,
she grabbed her robe and left.
Kathleen, you're focused on the 4 guys instead of Dionysia, you said?
Well, at that moment they came through. Cataline had a choice, so it might be that Dionysia is grabbing a robe and leaving. That's exactly what's happening. So we have a choice. The camera can follow the chase to catch Dionysia, which would be a Cataline scene, or it can be the all-out fracas. Pro, you can play like Donald's favorite hot springs pal. Tobias.
Tobias.
We always share a tub. Come on in, Donald.
I think the ruckus needs to be played out. But I also think the chase. I don't know. It could be a simple resolve.
Let's quickly resolve the ruckus. Ophelia, I'll let you handle the ruckus, and you can spend whatever points you'd like. It's a difficulty 8. But you will automatically get to add a +3 because of Beatrice, Donald, and Antimony all being there.
Yeah.
Is Antimony even armed? Sorry, go ahead.
No, but what I see Antimony trying to do is, as their part in it, is they currently like rolled in. They're up on the ground. One tries to like hit Antimony. Antimony grabs the towel from around them and uses it like in between both hands to like disarm one and like I also had this idea in my head at one point of like Antimony and Ophelia like doing this like back-to-back fight as they're like moving around with the
tower thing. No.
Yeah. So Antimony's using a towel to like disarm them and move them into range for Ophelia and kind of fighting in tandem with you. and we can have like this back and forth,
Excellent.
like witty repartee as we're doing.
Yeah.
Like,
Totally. There's a lot of like they're like trying to catch up like while they're doing this fight.
I imagine while all this is going on, Farkas is just sitting outside like a perfect good boy, just waiting in front of the hot springs. I don't know what's going on in there.
There's just a
Farkas
little
out there
sign
like, "Are you winning, son?"
There's just this little sign right outside the hot springs that says "No pets allowed," and so Farkas is just sitting there.
Perfect.
All right, let's get a roll. Difficulty 8.
Okay. Difficulty 8. I've got a +3. I'm gonna spend I think I'll spend 2 more of my valor on this one. Or actually no, hang on. I've got bold and resourceful, which both of those seem like they apply.
Yep. You do.
Okay. Excellent. All right. I'll spend 1 valor then. We're almost at the end. So for a +4, that is a 4 on the die, so 8.
All right. Describe how you and the gang defeat these hooligans.
Gosh, I think it starts out as chaos, but then eventually we get this really cool, like very like Avengers Assemble kind of shot of all of us, only like we're all still very much like in our bath gear. So Donald is tossing people, Ophelia and Beatrice are disarming people, and Timony is just causing absolute chaos with this towel whip. And I think we do. So we have that great kind of circular shot, and then just I think at one point, once we get the group all together, back to back, I think the remaining people just drop their weapons. Like, wow, this is not worth it.
Yeah, they all surrender. They're like, all right. Now we get to the part where we start a begging. Please don't kill us. Please, we promise we'll be good. We'll go back to the West. We have a family.
What's going on? And I turn to Antimony.
Oh, it's so good to see you. Have you been?
All things considered, pretty all right. I have to say, this isn't quite how I pictured our meeting.
No, me either. It's been a very hectic few years, but it is and Timothy's just kind of like incredibly flustered to see you. And at one point, I think because I wanted to kind of play back this like back and forth of them like fighting and like this, this catching up a little bit. In my head, I see at one point like Antimony like spinning you around to like block a blade with the towel like wrapped around their arm, and then you like spinning them around to stab out one of the others. But then at one point they're like very close, like to each other, like face to face almost. And Timothy's just like, hi.
Hi, behind you. And I kind of spin them back around and take the one that was just about to go in.
So there was a war. And
I heard.
We won, but we got betrayed, and we're hunting down the betrayer. And how's Capital? Right. Hi, Donald.
Yeah, Donald is currently gagged all the guys, and he's taken their robes and set them all in the tubs. He's like hanging their robes up. He's just like, shh. He doesn't want them talking, and he thinks if they soak for a good long while, they'll get all raisiny, and then they'll be easier to interrogate.
Oh no, the torture!
Tobias, get them something to smoke. Sorry.
All right. Well, Are these the traitors then? Because I believe I've taken care of that.
I think Sir Catelyn is dealing with the traitor. And
Catalin's here too.
Oh yes, I forgot. And Jolly is returning to capital with the Eastern armies, and
you brought an army to capital?
I didn't think I was going to see you again.
Well, I'm glad you were wrong for once in your life there. But we lost Grant. Okay.
No, I'm here. I'll be right back in a second.
Okay. Well, it's good to see you were wrong for once in your life. But sorry. Do you want a robe or something?
Sure. Emily's just wearing like traveling clothes, like.
No, sorry. That would have been to Donald or somebody. That was kind of generally like saying this room is full of people in various states of undress.
And Timothy looks around and is like,
perhaps,
yeah.
Perhaps we'll pick this up at a more opportune time.
Yeah, I should probably go after Sir Caitlin. And Timothy turns to like walk out to follow Sir Caitlin, because you guys seem to have these guys handled, and then like turns back really quick to Chef Ophelia and will, if it's okay with Chef Ophelia, like reach out and like kiss them super quick, like, and then turn around and like run after Caitlin.
I think as so Ophelia was actually stepping as if to follow them to see if they wanted help, and so like she actually like kind of steps into it, I think, and then they spin around and they leave, and Ophelia like, do you want help?
Beatrice's mouth drops.
And then, like you'll just hear from as like Intimity's running off, like, sure.
Let's cut.
Anime sparkles everywhere.
We're going to cut to the literal chase as Catalina is pursuing after Dionysia. It is a difficulty 8 to catch her, and this is a Catalina roll.
You sneaky woman! No. You do not get to run out of here in a robe from a bathhouse after all that you've done. Oh no. I refuse. And you're like just jogging away, and you're like maybe start sprinting, and I'm like,
no, she totally steals Caswin's donkey and just free donkey.
I was about to say the exact same thing.
crap.
This will do. Yes. We cut to Caswin like just dismounting for his vacation.
I'm going to take this deer.
What?
Don't you just hate it when a lady in a bathrobe comes and steals your donkey?
I think he actually he turns and like almost is like he's gonna like grab her shoulder, like, wait a second, and then like meets her eyes, like, you can have it, and then just
damn you,
chicken,
you coward.
Yeah, he's like, I imagine he's just like sat down between like, I imagine Donald's just standing in the tub in front of the guys that are bound. Caswin gets in next to him. He's like, "So, full house tonight, eh?" Puts his arms around everybody and.
Does this donkey have a sense of urgency? Can he be spurred into? Damn it!
Difficulty 8.
Yeah. Okay. I will spend Cerebration And this will play out in Kathleen's head like very much like quick time events. She's going to use her intellect of the landscape and make very pointed choices and hop over logs and try and take the shortest route to this donkey and leap at them, I guess. So I'll spend 3 points of cerebration, and so that's a 5. I'm okay with a 50-50 right now in this scene. Or, no, I guess it's a 40-60 how the dice rolls. It's fine. I got this. 8! Bitch!
All right. Dionysia is at her end. She has just been caught by Kathleen DeWolf, who has Helena's true blade. Play out the scene, and we'll find out what happens.
I've been running with my blade out after my fumble with the guards, and as I trip the donkey and she falls from this stupid mount, stupid Keswin mount. I pounce on her, get her in a rear naked choke, toss my blade aside. I won't threaten her with a blade.
All right.
You will not die tonight, but you will suffer.
Oh, really?
Yes, really. No wine for you.
Is that the worst you've got?
Oh, the worst is to come.
You can certainly try.
Are you a masochist? What is wrong with you? I'm about to take revenge for this traitorous act. You disgraceful act. To dare kill the perfect knight? Oh, no. You will suffer. You will suffer all your whole damn life.
Are you toothless now, Wolf?
A silhouette appears. A silhouette appears on the edge of the wood. It's large, broad-shouldered, dragging a great sword behind it. And as light begins to reflect on it, it's Donald. He says, throws the great sword down in front of Lady Dionysia. He says, "They say you killed my friend. You will defend yourself now, or I'll strangle you." His brutish hands. But she gets to decide, points at Cataline, because she's in charge, not you.
How dare you, Grant?
What'll it be?
Dare put Donald's life in my hands.
O'Donnell's fine.
Okay. I look at Donald and I'm like, I must say, you have grown very well into your knighthood, and should you want this duel, yes, as much as I want her to suffer long, perhaps a just duel is a swift death with much pain.
Donald holds his hand out to take Helena's blade.
Yes, I will hand it to him.
He points to Dionysia to draw the great sword.
Do Antonia and Ophelia cross over the hill to see this as well, because they're following?
Yeah, there's Donald in a towel around his waist, pointing a sword at a snaky woman.
Has Cataline let go of Dionysia yet?
When you said whether I've lost my teeth or not, I would have loosened my grip. So it's up to you if you would have taken that opportunity to escape. And seeing Donald, I would have let you go
Okay.
and given him the sword.
So she bends down and picks up the sword and draws it out, casts aside the sheath.
Oh, as soon as she leans down and the instant her skin touches the blade, Donald just lobs her head off, and I rolled for it, just
Ooh.
and then kicks
Sweet.
it. It turns to Cataline, winks, and then it hands her the sword back.
Oh. Wow. Ow. Okay.
Well, that's
Lion House fights a little differently than Wolf House, he says with a smile.
Yeah, there was no stalking, no circling, just there. Okay. Thank you.
and that we can end that scene there if you'd like. We still have time left in the game, and we still have more questions to answer, I am sure. Is there any aftermath to that scene we want to play out? And I apologize if I stole Cataline's moment, but Donald, he was 100% done. he was.
Yeah, if he was informed that she was there, that would have made sense.
I guess we stay for a little while here at the bathhouse.
And then I burn it down.
Well, Donald still is here for healing. So Donald's still beat up.
Mhm.
And Timony needs to rest for a minute. And
Beatrice is still pretty messed up too. Yeah.
And Beatrice is still really messed up. And Timony probably needs to talk with Chef Ophelia at some time. But that can happen.
This is
Yes.
this is the this is like the montage scene where Donald like catches everyone up how Humperdinck's gonna marry Buttercup and everything like that, and there's a six-fingered man, and he kind of goes through that, and then at some point Inigo Montoya collapses his face in soup. But this is not The Princess Bride. But I imagine there is a tying together of the storylines and what's going on. We know Jolly is marching on Capitol. We know Dionysia, the traitor, has been slain. The Dragon Legions are without a leader at this point. They might be persuaded to go to Sphinx House.
Yeah, hold up somewhere that's not Capitol. Is there in probably up in I can't remember the provinces right now.
Norfell or Eldershire or Marmors. The Goldenwood?
No, the just to the north of Capitol.
The Middle Country?
Yeah, the Middle Country. That's where a lot of dragon estates are. And so there are old dragon estates in the Middle Country.
Okay. Yes, there are many. That's actually where the hot springs are. They're on the borders of Capitol and Middle Country. All right. We can wrap this here, or we can set the next question to answer. Joe hasn't set a scene tonight. And we still have Jolly marching on the throne. We also have more that we can do here if needed.
I guess we should see what the heck is going on in Capitol.
The Eastern Army.
It seems like something we might want to resolve before this episode is over.
And there are that know how it all turned out. It's amazing we're all here today. Oh, yes.
Something happened. Somebody won.
So the question I think we want to answer...
All of us. Yeah.
Do we want to answer the question of does Jolly take the throne or not? Because that is where he's going straightway. He's leading the army of the East into Capitol. The army that is called Invincible. They are no longer stained red with blood. They are glowing white and gold again.
And I think I think whatever the scene ends up working around, I think all of us have returned to Capitol now. at some point.
You would arrive. Yeah, you would arrive before their army, since they are moving, and they wanted to make sure that they arrived. So you all can be there. The gates to the great city of capital burst open. Jolly is leading triumphant, riding side by side with his best friend, Christina. We're just friends. We're just friends. And with their matching Andalusian horses, Jolly is dressed not for war, but for leadership. He wears the golden sash. Upon his head sits the crown of daggers, and the amulet d'Estelle hangs around his neck. He is garbed in black. He rides as if he has grown a foot or two along the journey. And he is marching straightway towards the gates of the city. This was the first time in many months, possibly a couple of years, that a member of House d'Estelle has come to capital, the last being the Antillier. And so Jolly takes to the gates. Where is the Laird of Light while this goes on? Are you in the throne room?
I am in the throne room, sitting on the throne, and I'm in my metal kind of rose garb, wearing the crown of hearts, and I have my thorn blade just kind of between my legs, kind of twirling, and I have like I think all of the knights and like all of the houses who are like right behind me are in front in the courtyard waiting as like a large front, and it's said that the boy can kind of come and speak with the true.
Yeah, there's we'll see about that. And Jolly rides through the gates. As Jolly comes through the gates, the procession, the Royal Guard, the Rose Guard, all take a knee out of respect. Jolly rides on the horse, dismounts, proceeds, walks proudly. The door to the throne room is kicked open. Jolly comes through, kind of glances. The murals have been torn off the walls. Much of the cutlery has not been restored. And pronounces, "I like what you've done with the place."
Well, it is good that you agree with some of my decisions. And who do you profess to be?
I am Jolyon d'Estelle, sovereign of the land royal, by legal right.
What legal right?
And you are sitting. You are sitting on my throne.
I am sitting on a throne that was begotten with murder and betrayal. Your house is an affront, and the true heir wishes not to have you on the throne, and I to be here. And I think, like, if Treese wants to be in the scene, they can.
Can as well.
Oh, she's been hiding behind the throne. Literally just standing there waiting.
I have betrayed no one. I have murdered no one. I have fought in wars, and I have defended our fronts. And under the current law, as it is written, that throne is mine.
As blood in the hands of your house. And she will step out.
Do you judge people by their house?
I would not have, but every house judged me by mine.
But I am not a house, I am a person, and I judge you not.
No.
He gives... go ahead. Apologies.
Please go.
Looks at the laird and he says, "You know what I must do, and you know that I am the one to do it." And he kind of gives you a secret look that only you know and he knows. You've seen this look before.
Danielle will stand up and will unsheathe the blade and will look towards Trist and will place it in front of them. It is time everything changes. Do you trust me?
She's a bit reluctant to answer. And notably, she does not have the mask or hood on it anymore. But she nods.
Antimony is off to the side of the room with Chef Ophelia.
All of the knights are able to be in the room at this point. Jolly looks to the laird. He goes, "Allow me to sit in the throne, and let me do what must be done."
You see Danielle grip the thorn blade, stare again at Trist, and slam it into the stone next to the throne, and will walk off the steps and away slightly.
Jolly slowly approaches the throne and pulls out a chisel and a small tablet and sits. He goes, "For the crime of the dismantling of House Phoenix, House D'Estelle, Eagle, Dragon, Lion are no more," chisels into the stone. He goes, "It is this point in the 12th year of civil strife. I pronounce an end to all royal houses, and an end to all ecclesiastical appointed nobility. The church does not decide who rules." Chisels again. It was at this point I renounce the throne and turn the key to the kingdom back over to the Laird of Light, that the council may be formed and that rule may be established by groups and collectives, judges, other means. The people, looks to antimony, that the time of night has come to pass. You may keep your ceremonial titles if you choose. You may refer to your houses for the purpose of convenience or honor. But it is this time we put an end to the reign of House D'Estelle and to the reign of sovereigns, kings, and lairds. And with that, he removes the crown of daggers and he sets it on the throne. And he turns to leave and go to his horse. Yes, go.
As he leaves and he puts it down, I think Daniel kind of goes up closer to him, grabs the sword, swings it up, and like slashes at a cord, and it's like these tapestries fall down from like winding up, and it's like a new symbol of like the people's like capital.
I love it. I love it. If you cut off his head, I was gonna be like, "Well, thanks, bro." No, this is awesome. It's the most pro moment. And they have their own the land of the people, no longer the land royal. And with that, let's start playing out the scene. Does anyone say anything? Does anyone approach Jolly?
Antimony was standing off to the side with Chef Ophelia. They would be kind of holding Chef Ophelia's hand, if they would allow, and like squeeze it during this, like with tension right before the announcement was made, and then have this like their body would suddenly like relax and like this tension kind of left out of them after these announcements, and they just have like this like look of contentment in a way, and will like squeeze their hand and then move at an appropriate time to go speak with Jolly.
Jolly's there.
Your sister would be very proud of you. You did better than I could have ever dreamed. And you've grown into a wise man.
Go ahead.
I hope this is not the end of your public service. Strong and wise voices will be needed on the council. And I think I am grown too old for this sort of rabble rousing.
He pulls out from his pocket a small stone that he places in the palm of your hand, and he closes your hand. You would know that this is the final stone that would be set during the Antimony Gambit from that game of strategy that he had played in the West. He goes, I'm thankful for your teachings and for your friendship. My voice will be heard, but the council is not for me. I am intending to open a university abroad, south, the Solar Empire. We have much to offer.
We do. Well, I will send you my new book when it is done.
He winks. He turns to Cataline, and he approaches Cataline, and he removes the amulet Diastal that he was wearing. It represents House Estelle's divine right to rule, as well as the senior member of the house. And he goes, the time of houses are over, but I will always look to you for leadership. And he places the amulet around Sir Cataline's neck. It is the highest honor that I could bestow.
I will bow my head and allow him to put it on me. And then I start jabbing him in the chest. I'm like, you think you can march a whole army in here just to say you don't want the crown? And then you get rid of the houses. Didn't you just make a horse? How is that woman going to feel? I poke him in the forehead one last time. And I bring him to a hug. And
He shows you the extra small writing on his tablet that says, House Horse is still legal in the Solar Empire.
A little addendum, tedious little asterisk. He shows me that, and I'm like, okay, come here. And I'll hug him. You did good. Oh gosh, you stressed me out so much. But you did well. I'm honored to have served you.
I owe you my life.
And a good set of hair dye. I feel like I've gotten so many gray hairs.
I've been counting them. And he points to a bunch of little hash marks on the back of the tablet.
Still a disaster.
Oh, a silver wolf I shall be.
With that, Jolly departs. He looks for Christina. He invites her to go riding with him if she's willing to.
I expect she's extremely willing to. If she wasn't in the room already, she was probably waiting just outside and basically tackle hugs him after listening.
Yes. Yeah, the final thing is he was going to take the golden sash and he was going to give it to her. And, you know, It's the last sign of royalty that he has. He figures he'd like her to have it.
Oh.
Because the gold color looks great.
Oh.
I think she takes it and instead of like wearing it sash, like she just ties it around her waist and gives him a great big hug. Come on, let's go riding. Solar Empire, right?
Yes, and we're gonna have to race there.
They were after me.
They're after me. As Daniel goes, no. I promised him. I whispered in his ear, 10-minute head start. And so ends the short reign of Jolly D'Estelle. It lasted about 10 minutes.
I think as Jolly has gone, I'm gonna hear heavy foot boots going, and Danielle has walked up to Antimone, like very stern look on their face.
Well, son, you look well.
You too. And they just kind of grab your hand and like they kind of slam something down on it. You look at it and it's a wedding invitation.
Oh. Do you need someone to officiate?
I would like for you to be my friend of honor.
I'd be honored.
The Bishop Ambrose is like, well, why wait? You know, he's marching out with his instant wedding kit.
Just has it just in case.
Yes.
It's like, we could do it now.
Always be prepared.
No,
the Bishop Ambrose sees Cataline for the first time in a while.
Okay.
Soft boy returns.
Oh, I'm glad to see you're still alive.
And like he's like starts going into like this like elaborate poetry. He's like the first day of summer. And he's just like, you know, he's just like, you look incredible.
You wax poetically. Thank you.
And my legs, as he pulls up his robes, they're glistening smooth. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
I've had a few.
Definitely don't have context.
I've had a few drinks.
He kicks out his leg.
Shiny, perfect. My perfect legs.
Is that a new fashion statement? You've had time to wax your legs while we were off at war. Good to know.
The laird insisted. I keep to the ancient rites.
It's an ancient ritual.
We're gonna cut on that, and yeah, Ambrose is just like, you guys, help, we'll cut that scene. All right, so let's start going into our aftermaths, because it gets a slippery slope when Granella starts talking about bishops waxing their legs, and one or two, I've had enough. Yeah.
He's just rippling with muscles.
Oh no!
Anyway, turns out he was Donald's hot springs companion. Yeah.
Okay.
No. All right. So let's go into the vignettes, epilogues, and aftermaths of our characters to make sure that we put them all in nice, safe places, because this officially ends the period of civil strife in the Land Royal. Our year clock has come full, and we have finished the final scene. We have done many things over the course of the campaign, from rescuing members that were taken captive by the Solar Empire, those lost ones, of which Beatrice was a squire, etc. His Grace Claude led a crusade in a holy war in the Marmors. A dragon queen attempted to usurp the throne. There was a war fought in the Golden Woods. And there was an invasion by the Lunar Republic, as well as the Final War, which saw all members of every nation participate. But now let's make sure that our knights end up in nice, safe places as this period of civil strife has ended in a new era. The time of the people begins. So what we'll do is we'll go around essentially clockwise. So we'll go Cataline, Trieste, or Alexandra, Antimony, Ophelia, then Danielle.
Oh boy. Cataline would enjoy the idea of dissolving the royal houses, so she would embrace it pretty rapidly and try to be a leader in helping the others transition, since House Wolf tends to be pretty tight-knit, territorial, and trying to help unwind those bindings for them. I think she remains pretty broody, pretty solitary, and not wanting smooches.
Not since the death of the perfect knight.
Probably the remainder of her life, at least for a few years. Mourning the
I have a
perfect
feeling.
knight.
Does Sir Cataline, Captain Cataline, become the next suzerain Josa, who we started with?
Oh my god. The
drinking,
happy drunk grandma.
Happy drunk grandma. Yeah.
She would get there. It would take a long time, but she would get there. She'd be able to look back and smile.
Does she keep in contact with any of the members of the period of civil strife? Either any NPCs, any squires that remain, any of the other knights?
I think I was cold-hearted and killed off and sacrificed all my squires, so...
There is one that you have. The one that you have is Chev Emersinda, who accompanied you to the ball. She was a member of House Eagle.
Right. I think she would continue traveling, and so she would keep in contact with all the PCs, whether different various frequencies. Very curious to see what Chev Antimony continues to do. At some point throughout her years, she might seek out religion more earnestly, whether that's through the wolves or through Danielle's teachings. Some exploration will be had. The eagle, that's right. She was so sweet.
Do you ever visit Jolly in the Solar Empire?
Only if he requests and invites.
He wanted you to be there at the day of the opening of the university that he spent his family's remaining finances on furnishing. He established a school down there.
Yeah, I would go to opening ceremonies for that school. I would support him.
All right. And let's move to Chef Alexandra de Phoenix. Go ahead and tell us all about the happy ending, the soft and quiet epilogue.
So, clearly there was a wedding. I suspect it was probably of considerable size, despite Alexandra probably wishing for something a little quieter.
It was crazy big.
Yeah. She's not
festivities.
Not
Dude,
super
imagine at a wedding.
Oh God!
They even wheeled in Council
Donald started
Lorenz
eating
in
the
a
wedding
cage,
cake
so
before anybody else did.
Oh.
Before they got to cut it.
This cake is great. Some versions of the story pops out of it, but
Oh. So yes, there was absolutely a wedding. And I think at some point during those festivities, she would have sought out Ophelia just to see her again and congratulate her on how much she's grown in all those years. And after that, after all of that, I think she would pretty much hang up her raven feathers for good. However, there is one last task she would go do before she does that. One last piece of revenge. She'd go find Caswin.
I don't think Caswin came back to Capital. I think Caswin is still at that inn.
Mm-hmm. She would have sent her little birds out looking, and when she tracked them down, she would put on her mantle and go out there and find him.
Here's
in the dead
exactly
of
where
night.
it went. Caswin attempted to march back with the army from the east. He's like, I'll hide amongst these giants. And
Perfect.
he was brought to court one day, and they were there. And then they all sort of pointed their weapons at him, and the ravens, their Triest, entered from behind. She found him. They knew who he was, and they respect her more than him.
And I think she would have given him a good long look, drawn her sword, drawn his shiny fancy dagger, and handed it back to him. And informed him to leave Capital. Leave the land of the people. Go somewhere else. Doesn't matter where, but if she sees him again, she will kill him.
I think.
And then she'd turn and walk away.
Yeah.
Oh.
Him?
Okay. No, I like the image of her just walking away, and Caswin raises one finger, takes a step, starts to reach out, and then for the first time in his life, actually has a second thought. And looks at the dagger in his hand, looks up at her, and gets on his donkey and just rides into the sunset, I think.
Yeah.
And he's gonna go off and no, he goes off, and I think he becomes like a full-on hermit in the woods kind of situation where he just lives his life
Amongst the West folk. Ding dong ding
Oh
ding.
my
Come on
God.
up, Casman.
Oh, God.
Perfect.
You're a heck of a
Absolutely.
guy in those hot tubs. Yes, I reckon.
And after that, Alexandra will do away with her raven garb, stow it away unless it's absolutely needed someday, and be a council member as Sir Daniel had asked her to.
And what becomes of Chev Antimony?
I think Chev Antimony, I think eventually would try to return to the Intramuros, and I think eventually becomes like the headmaster of it, and invites Chev Orphelia to join them there in the Intramuros. There may not be, this would be what they would say to you, there may not be a need for knights and houses anymore, but the Intramuros has never been just a place of education. It is a place of discipline. And you, more than anyone else, I want here by my side so that we can make sure that should anything befall this land, those that we train here will be prepared.
You know, it's funny. You spend all your life you're thinking you're going to be something, and spend your whole life training for it, and then You have that one instant where you know you're where you're meant to be, and it's all worth it, and then it's just gone. Well, I expect I'm gonna need something else to fill my time with, and if you'll have me, I'd certainly love to spend that time with you. And it's not like that mind of yours can do everything now, can it?
No,
you need someone who's good at this. And I kind of do like a really ridiculous flourish with my sword.
I was never very good at that, but
well, we've got plenty of time for you to learn if you'd like.
I would love to. And you're welcome here and with me for as long as you would like. I
should like that very much.
And I think they will. I think they'll travel at some point, at least to see Charlian open the school in the Solar Empire, or at least Antimony would, to visit for a moment. And Antimony will pass off a new treatise they've been working on that is not for wide publication. But it is a book called On the Defense of Freedom, and it is their backup plan in case this experiment in rule by the people needs a little help. Because Antimony thinks, if nothing else, about the future and all of the plans that may happen.
And with that, I think that's a really good point to move to the aftermath of Chev Beatrice. Or Chev Orphelia. Sorry. You two look alike sometimes.
So Chev Orphelia does follow Chev Antimony to the Intramuros, and I think that is where she spends most of her time. But I think she does go to Chev Beatrice at one point, for whom this being a knight was so important. It was so much of who she was. And I think the two of them have a conversation and we don't actually have to necessarily play this out, but making sure that Chev Beatrice is fully at peace. Now with Elisenda gone, with no more need for knights, no more need for this violence and all the chaos that the house is fighting created.
I can tell you how the scene might play out if you're interested. So Beatrice's ending has gone so far. As the period of civil strife has ended, it is almost as if that strife was sustaining Beatrice. She's not completely at peace. She is well taken care of, though. Donald has been by her side, making sure that she gets her meals, that she gets treatments for all the afflictions that she suffered. But she appears as though she is gearing up to head into the west. She's looking at enlisting in a remote, essentially private army. She feels it is her duty to return to the life she has always known. However, she wants to know Orphelia's opinion.
Ophelia would tell her that if this is what her heart desires, she won't stop her. But that Ophelia has seen parts of her that go beyond the skills in battle, skills for use in battle, skills that could be used here to help build community and help the people, and would ask her to stay and help build what we have here with the people we have here, but would let her go if that is truly her wish.
She looks to Donald. Donald looks at Ophelia, looks at Beatrice, and Beatrice goes to take her sword. And instead of wearing it as if she would go out in combat, she hands it to Donald and says, I hear you like to collect these things anyways. And decides that she will go and serve the community. And her voice is one of the strongest on the council. Though she was never an official member, many looked to Beatrice for advice. Her being the eldest of the Knights of the Land Royal and senior member of House Eagle after the period of civil strife. And she lived for many years after that.
Good.
Anything else for Ophelia?
I don't think so. I think Ophelia honestly spends most of the rest of her life just in peace, helping people with, not with her sword, but with her conviction and her outspokenness and everything that got her in trouble back when she used to be trying to just be a knight. She's now able to leverage that to build the community.
And lastly,
I
go
have a
ahead.
quick question for Ophelia.
Yes.
Just because I don't know what Ophelia's thoughts on that were. Do Antimony and Ophelia ever get married?
Oh, totally.
Okay.
Yes. If I think this is one of the things where they have this. There's a while where both of them are we dating? I think we're maybe dating. Are we dating? And then I think in a suitably rom-com moment, they finally we are dating. Do you want to get married? And I think that's how that plays out, if that works for you.
Yeah, eventually it's like they're both like older, like they're probably like in some time at like almost 40 or a little older, and they're like, I guess we're doing
Wait a
this.
second.
And lastly, Laird Danielle, narrate your epilogue.
I think Danielle definitely starts resting. They were holding a lot, had a lot of strife in that time. And I suppose it kind of leans on Trist, Alexandra as the true strength in the union, as they kind of get their kind of like power from them. The wedding was fabulous and fucking glorious. It got like 6 passion points, so it all goes into that.
Yeah.
I rolled Glittermane, so let's just put that out there.
Jesus, so extra.
Alexandra's just like.
They lead the people what I would hope to be like a kind of a golden age for free religion and free thought. As kind of things go on, and as the years going to go on, and their children kind of continue on with the same traditions. I like to think that the garden, the maze, the secret area is turned into like a family kind of tomb, and just kind of etched on the top is like over like Danielle, and like, you know, the family tomb is just never may your hearts never be unrestful in the garden of glory.
And so ends the campaign A campaign of brave knights of noble houses and orders, knights who served crown, passion, and glory, who created many messy entanglements, and their legendary qualities manifested throughout the time of civil strife. And with that, we end the campaign. Thank you all so much for watching over these past 10 weeks. Thank you so much to the players. Sincerely, I have the best players in the world. I'm just saying that I could not have made this game. This game is dedicated to them, their various online communities, everything that they do to help build up the online tabletop role-playing community. If it wasn't for the aesthetic drama, the tweets, the discords, none of this would have been possible. Also, love Marcy. Marcy played in the first 3 or 4 games of the series. If it wasn't for Marcy, the game would have been able to come together as well. So thank you all so much, and stay tuned for Symbaroum that's going to come on after us. Goodbye.